Hello and welcome to the Your Illini Nation pregame show. I'm Craig Schote. He's Derek Piper. Sorry we're a little bit late here. Technical difficulties on kind of both ends, but we're going here. We're in the Manny Jackson Hall of Fame room. The 2005 window right behind us, fitting because Darren Williams is in the building tonight.
That's right.
He's first time since a couple years ago. He was here for the Rutgers game, but he is in the building, so it's a big one. We're going to recap Friday first, though. The loss to Maryland. Illinois looked good early, but then that zone came and Maryland kind of took over.
Yeah, you really had everything that you wanted. A fast start, got out to a 14-point lead in the first half, and they were humming. DeMonte's hitting threes, Georgie was hitting one. You just felt like your night, but they threw the zone out there, really disrupted Illinois' flow. They got into foul trouble. Trent Frazier goes to the bench for the last 12 minutes of the first half. All of a sudden at halftime, it's a 2-point lead, and Illinois is not able to hold on. So disappointing in that one, but obviously another big opportunity tonight.
Yeah, 2 losses in a row now for Illinois, but a chance to right the ship. This is round 2 of the Illinois-Michigan State series this season. Michigan State won by 20 in East Lansing, a game that Illinois started to 0 for 14 from 3. That's on the road, so a struggle there on the road, but a bit, like you said, a big opportunity to get back on track tonight.
Both of these teams really need this game. We have Michigan State coming in. They've lost 3 in a row. Maryland's waiting for them on College game day back in East Lansing on Saturday. Illinois about to go on a really daunting road trip at Rutgers and Penn State. Need to take care of business at home. The winner's going to stay in the Big Ten title chase. The losers facing potentially a long losing streak. Yeah,
we talked to the players yesterday ahead of the game. Let's hear what they had to say before tonight's tip-off.
We know that to be a successful team and be one of the best teams in the country, I mean, you have to have games, you have to have wins like this. And what I mean by that, I mean off of a back-to-back loss, like how we respond. The great teams, when they lose 2 in a row, 3 in a row, they respond well and they come out and play. So we're up for the challenge to come out and respond well after hitting adversity.
Both teams are fighting for, second to third place in the 10. So, it's going to be a dogfight tomorrow with Michigan State. They're a really good basketball team. So, we just got to come out here tomorrow and be locked in mentally and just be ready for war.
I like what Io said there. He said, a lot of people know they're good, but great teams, when they hit adversity, they bounce back, and they end that adversity with the win. They have a chance tonight.
They do. And again, both teams are going to play with a lot of hunger, a lot of desperation. They're going to know that they need to get right now. It's the middle of February. It's time to get hot and still playing for a lot, whether that's the Big Ten title or seeding in the NCAA tournament. So opportunity, Illinois at home, you want them to play well. Michigan State's had struggles going on the road. They lost 4 of the last 5 away from Breslin Center, and they've gotten off to some slow starts. So I think Illinois trying to throw the first couple of punches and get back to where they were in that Maryland game.
Even if Illinois doesn't make it or win the Big Ten regular season title, I think that double bye in the Big Ten tournament would be huge, something that this program hasn't had in a long time. I'd have to go back and look that up when the last time that was. But still touching on that game in East Lansing, I learned yesterday that they had a players-only meeting after that game. It led to a 7-game winning streak for the Illini. So what's your thoughts on players-only meetings? Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. Kind of depends on who's running them and what's said, right?
Obviously this one worked.
Yeah.
And whatever the words were uttered, they worked because a 7-game winning streak, as you mentioned. But you were in a stretch where a couple weeks before you lost to Missouri, you had 1 game with North Carolina A&T and then went on the road and didn't really compete at all at Breslin Center. So I think whoever stepped up, I know Io mentioned that some things were not right in that locker room. I'm guessing because he played really well in that game, and some others were not up for the challenge. I'm guessing he challenged his guys in that locker room, and they obviously got together and played great defense, and here we are at the top of the Big Ten.
Yeah, Brad Underwood said he's all for it. Let's hear what he had to say about that players-only meeting.
As long as they're the right guys, absolutely. That's what this is all about. This is their team. We're us as coaches help guide them and mold them, but this is their team. These are their friends for life and the memories that they're going to create. So I'm a big fan of those, and it was probably needed at that time.
Sounds like Io might have been one of those guys that led that players-only meeting. Who would be the guys that you would like to do it? Io, who are some other names?
Io, Trent, Georgie. The guys that obviously were here last year that beat Michigan State and really showed everybody what this team could be. I just think that overall the locker room needed to feel some urgency. Hey, it's time. We've talked about how good we can be. It's time to pick it up. We lost a tough one at Maryland. It's the Big Ten. It's time to make our run, and they obviously did.
Yeah, moving on now to our next topic here. Kofi Coburn, he's only scored in double figures in 1 of the last 4 games. So maybe that players-only meeting Maybe they need another to say we need to feed Kofi more. How much more does he need to get involved? Are our teams taking him away, or is he just not playing well?
Yeah, I think that it's a mix of both, really. Maryland and Minnesota, even Iowa, send multiple bodies at Kofi. They try to double him in the post. But he's got to finish around the basket. He's also got to rebound more. Only had one defensive rebound against Maryland. But as far as teams, as far as an X factor, he is very well connected to Illinois winning. When he plays well, Illinois wins. When they don't, when he shoots below 35%, which that's not a high bar, they're 1-3 in Big Ten play. When he shoots above it, 7-1.
Yeah, so the post play for the Illini this year has to play well if the Illini want to keep winning, and that includes Georgi Bishanishvili. He's only scored in double figures twice in the last 13 games. Brad Underwood said they need more from their post play, simply put.
Everything we do, we try to get the ball as close as we can to the rim and play inside out. And, we have a saying, love the rim like the three. And when you're shooting them quick with 16, 17 on the clock, that's not doing a very good job of emphasizing trying to get the ball where we need it. And we've got to be better at that tomorrow.
Before we move on, I got some special guests here. My parents made the trip. This is my dad. This is my mom. So they made the trip tonight. Fun fact, Illinois, you might know TJ Wheeler. My dad coached TJ Wheeler in high school down in Christopher. So they're here for the game, their first game this year. Dad's come to a couple, but happy to have them up here. Hopefully they see an Illini win. But getting back to the show now, what do you need to see from Georgie? He's a different player right now than last year.
He's got to make free throws. And I just felt what that was like when you have the Orange Crush waving at you over there. Get a little distracted.
Mom was trying to distract us.
It shouldn't happen here at home for Georgie. He's got to be able to make free throws. He's got to be able to finish around the basket. We saw last year he was so good with his footwork and going to different moves. We haven't seen that of late from him. And then also just you got to limit the mistakes. The really costly turnovers deep in the backcourt. You just want to see him locked in and engaged. You know how much he means to this team. And this is a guy that scored 16 points in this matchup here in this building last year. If he plays well, Illinois should be in a good spot. Yeah,
we were going to touch on it a little bit, but we're not going to talk about the lazy turnovers for Georgie is what I called it. Last two games, late in the game, he's made bad turnovers in the back court. Brad Underwood said he's just too casual with the ball, and he can't let that happen. To today's game, again, Michigan State's defense. Illinois has had trouble with the zone the last two games. You had a good nugget that I don't know how you found, that Michigan State's only played 5 possessions of zone all season. Seeing as Illinois is struggling right now, does Michigan State try and change it up? Do they try some?
Yeah, I think that starting out, they'll stick to what has them number one in the Big Ten in defensive efficiency. They give Illinois problems as far as scoring against them in East Lansing. But if Illinois comes out hot and they get in a situation where they're up 31-17 or something similar again, Tom Izzo's got to say, hey, you guys remember how to play zone from high school or middle school or whenever? Just throw that out there because it's really giving Illinois problems. Yeah, let's hear from the Illini on how they're preparing for this Michigan State defense.
They're one of the best defensive teams in our league. We just gotta move pieces, keep the ball moving. We gotta play inside out, and just play to our strengths in transition.
Gotta move them. Gotta move them. Gotta get them shifted from side to side. Gotta make Cash's guard. Gotta make their bigs move and just move them.
I know we're flying along here on this pregame show, but we were cut down for time. So this Michigan State defense, like they just said, one of the best in the country, best in the Big Ten. What makes them so good?
They're really tough to score against inside. Xavier Tillman, I know he's only about 6'8", but he blocks a lot of shots. Marcus Bingham, who is a sophomore, I think he had about 5 blocks against Illinois in the first meeting. So they really challenge you around the rim. And then obviously Cassius, Aaron Henry, they've got some length and some good athletes on the perimeter, but they're just really solid, really sound. And then obviously they're trying to get stops and run out in transition. Yeah, this game last year, the Orange Crush ended up in the middle of the State Farm Center. I asked Io this yesterday about how far this program has come since then, and then I should have asked him again, does he feel like that was the launching point to where they're at now? What do you think? I think it definitely is. It was a turning point. Oh, absolutely. It maybe wasn't their arrival, but it really showed who they could be as a program. They had already beaten Maryland. They had hammered Minnesota here in this building, but to have a nationally televised game and to get that win, and then they won some games after that, it showed you what this future could be and obviously what they could be this year. Yeah, got a couple more things we want to touch on here. We got about 3 or 4 minutes left. Illinois had a visitor on Friday. Adam Miller was in the stands. He is still a verbal commit, did not sign. He committed the day after the early signing period in November, so he couldn't sign, but he stood firm on that commitment, and I think
the reason that he didn't sign is being proved right now. That Illinois is winning, and that's what he wanted to see. You're on the recruiting trail all the time. Does it feel the same way? Is he still about 100% committed to Illinois?
Yeah, it feels like he definitely is.
Yeah.
And I know he was watching Illinois as far as being able to take the next step as a program, but also for Iowa to succeed and be able to take the next step to the NBA. Because I think Adam wants an opportunity to come in, have the ball a decent amount as a freshman. Obviously, you got to earn that, but to be able to come in with Andre Curbelo, I think he's learned more about how good Andre is, how they can play off of each other. Andre's a great passer. Adam's an electric scorer. That's a tandem that you can get really excited about.
I think everyone's learned a little bit about how good Andre Curbelo is. He beat Sierra Canyon, the son of LeBron James, the son of Dwayne Wade, on Saturday night, I think.
Yeah.
Scored 23 points. He played really, really well. So Illini have some good guard play coming in with this next recruiting class. All right, we're finishing up here. A couple minutes left. We'll get down to the predictions. What do you think? What are your keys first?
I think you got to stop Michigan State in transition. That was one big point that Izzo talked about in his pregame press conference, is that one thing they haven't done well when they've lost is get out and score, and they want to push the pace. So I think Illinois has to be able to get back. They didn't do that against Maryland. Maryland had 21 fast break points. Iowa hit them for some threes in transition. Yep. So stop that, slow that down. Obviously, Kofi has to have a good game. That's the key in any game. But also, I'm really looking at Trent and Georgie.
Yeah.
Those are my two big ones watching tonight.
I like that.
Trent has to be aggressive, and Georgie has to limit his mistakes.
Yeah, Coach Mark Turgeon said after the Maryland game that they really didn't want to let Trent heat up early. They did a good job of that. He hit one early three, but didn't score again until the final minutes of the game. All right, so we got 1 or 2 minutes left. What is your final prediction?
I think Illinois gets off to a fast start. It's a battle late. They hold on, 71-66. Illinois gets the win.
Okay, 6-point win for the Illini coming from Derek. I went against the Illini Friday. I turned out to be right. I'm going against them again tonight. I don't think Michigan State has a bunch of depth. They have a bunch of okay guys. They got 2 superstars, but I just think they're hungry. They don't want to happen what happened last year here. They come out, they get about a 3 or 4 point win.
Haven't lost 4 straight under Izzo since 2007, so history is on your side.
Yeah, me and Brett looked that up earlier today. We found that 2007. You said this is the first time Illinois has played an unranked Michigan State since...
When Illinois has been ranked and they've played an unranked Michigan State since 2003, a freshman named D. Brown had 24 points in that game. Also a freshman, Darren Williams, is in the building tonight.
He is in the building tonight. Hopefully he sees a good one. All right, that's going to do it for us. That's all we have. Thanks, Derek, for joining us. We on a little bit late, but thank you for sticking in. We got a lot of content there in a short period of time. So thank you for joining us. We'll have post-game recap tonight on WCIA as well as WCIA.com. All his stuff will be on IlliniInquirer.com. Thank you so much for joining us. Have fun at the game if you're going or watching on TV. Thank you.